What's actually happening when we get a little tipsy and a little buzzed after a couple drinks?
Yeah, this is a great question. Very complicated answer. I'll try and boil it down. A lot of people are interested in psilocybin because it activates serotonin receptors and quite powerfully changes the state of the brain. Alcohol, though, is equally as powerful. Maybe not, working in therapeutic ways like psilocybin might be, but it has a host of different targets in the brain, molecular targets that depend on the concentration of alcohol that's in the system. And the way that we can sort of conceptualize how alcohol is modulating the brain is to think about what the results are of alcohol ingestion. So there are two different basic phases of alcohol effects. One is an acute effect, what happens when we're drunk, and the chronic effects, what happens after, drinking a lot and we're not necessarily drunk, right? We're sober again, but we have these like lasting effects to the circuitry in the brain that changes our behavior as it relates to alcohol and other things. So, the acute effects of alcohol are quite widespread, affecting lots of different areas of the brain. Affects the cerebellum. That's why your coordination is off. It affects the prefrontal cortex. That's why your decision making is impaired. It affects the basal ganglia. That's why you choose to drink more and more and more. So your action selection is off. You might disinhibit other emotional parts of the brain, so you don't feel fear as much, like the amygdala. But then in the chronic phase, there are specific changes that happen to these different systems within the brain, specifically as they relate to alcohol.